All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're firmly putting on our IT administrator hats. We are going to tackle automating one of the absolute most tedious, honestly soul-crushing parts of managing internal infrastructure. And you know exactly what I'm talking about: software requests. So, I'm going to guide you through a masterclass on building a highly secure, autonomous software review agent using the new Workspace Agents in ChatGPT. Let's get to it.
Now, I want you to just think about this question for a second. Seriously, how much time does our IT team waste manually reviewing duplicate, high-volume, highly time-sensitive software requests right there in Slack? If your enterprise is anything like the ones I've worked in, it's a massive daily headache. Employees, they want access to new tools yesterday. And our IT and procurement teams, we're stuck acting as these manual gatekeepers, constantly cross-referencing giant spreadsheets and checking license counts. It's exhausting, and frankly, it is a terrible use of our technical expertise.
So, here's our syllabus for today's session. First, taming IT software sprawl. Second, core architecture, skills and memory. Third, building the review agent. Fourth, Slack and Jira integration. Fifth, granular permissions. And finally, best practices for sharing.
Number 1. Taming IT software sprawl, the operations headache.
Okay, we are looking at a massive paradigm shift here. The old way of handling these requests in Slack was basically to use a simple, frankly dumb chatbot. A user asks for a tool, and the bot just spits out a generic link to an IT wiki, forcing the user to go do their own discovery. It's frustrating for them, and it's unhelpful. But the new way, using a workspace agent, is entirely different. This agent actually takes autonomous action. It researches the requested vendor's capabilities, it compares those options against our internally approved software stack, and then it routes the next steps based entirely on our strict internal policies. It literally does the heavy lifting for us.
Number 2. Core architecture, skills and memory. So before we build, we need to understand what we're building. At a high level, workspace agents are codex-powered agents. They are fundamentally built for teams. Unlike your standard bots, they're designed to handle really complex, long-running work that spans multiple cloud systems. And here is the absolutely crucial distinction. They have access to files, code, and tools. And they keep working in the background in the cloud even when your laptop is completely shut. Think of them as highly capable digital team members that operate totally autonomously.
Now, a massive part of making this work for our IT and procurement workflows is this concept of reusable skills. You see, you aren't just giving this agent a prompt, you're giving it an entire playbook. You can actually import your existing procurement team workflows as reusable skills. By codifying our best practices right into the agent, we guarantee that it evaluates software requests using the exact same rigorous standards and policy checks that a human senior IT admin would use. We are instantly scaling our expertise.
And right alongside skills, we have persistent memory. Enabling this is what allows the agent to actually retain context, store files, and keep notes across completely different runs. And from an architecture standpoint, which I know you all care about, this memory is isolated. Every single Slack channel gets its own specific memory system. This means the agent gets better and way more contextually aware over time without ever crossing the streams between different department channels.
Number 3. Building the review agent.
Okay, let's actually build this thing. You start from a totally blank slate in ChatGPT and just use a natural language prompt to describe the goal. In our case, handle employee software requests. Next, you import that procurement skill we just talked about. That tells it exactly how to evaluate the tools. And finally, you connect your data sources. For our setup, this means pointing the agent directly to our internal software management platform, or even just a securely hosted spreadsheet that contains our approved tech stack and our current license utilization. The system automatically wires up all that complex configuration in the background in seconds. It's incredibly fast.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. Notice how the agent actively reasons using the data you gave it. Let's say an employee requests a new tool called Screen Studio for high-quality demo recording. The agent doesn't just blindly approve it, right? It checks our database. It sees, oh, we already have an approved tool called Bloom that has that exact same capability. But then it goes a step further. It checks utilization. It sees Bloom is at 100% capacity. We literally have 0 licenses left. This logical chain of reasoning is identical to what we would do manually.
Number 4. Slack and Jira integration. To integrate this into our high-volume IT Slack channels, the configuration is super straightforward, but highly customizable. You can specify exactly which channels the agent is allowed to operate in. You can configure it to only respond when mentioned, which, let's be honest, is a massive lifesaver for reducing IT channel noise. Nobody wants a spammy bot.
And you can add custom instructions for thread handling, meaning the agent will neatly reply within a specific Slack thread rather than clogging up the main channel feed with all of its research.
But what happens when the agent hits a roadblock? Like in our previous example where Bloom was totally out of licenses. Well, it escalates. The agent doesn't just chat, it acts. It realizes a human in the loop is required to either go buy more Bloom licenses or grant a special exception for Screen Studio. So it automatically formats a request, packages up all its gathered research and rationale, and creates a task directly in Jira for our IT team to review. It tees up the decision perfectly so we can literally just click a button to unblock the employee.
Number 5. Granular permissions, enterprise security. Now, we need to talk about security. As the builder, you always stay in control. You decide what tools and data your agent can use. I absolutely love this quote from the OpenAI engineering team because it perfectly captures our philosophy as admins here. We are never, ever just handing the keys to the kingdom over to an AI. We are strictly utilizing role-based access controls to dictate exactly what this agent can see and what it can do.
In practice, our security posture looks exactly like this. When you connect third-party apps, you have incredibly granular control. If the agent only needs to reference a database or look at a calendar, you explicitly disable write access. You disable write access for Google Drive, you restrict it from sending unauthorized emails, you ensure the agent operates on a strict read-only basis when researching. We give it the absolute bare minimum permissions required to perform its specific task, no exceptions.
Number 6. Best practices for sharing.
Finally, to deploy this across the organization safely, we have to follow these exact governance rules. First, keep the agent securely locked within the company workspace directory. You can use simple link sharing to deploy it to specific departments as needed. Now, a really great feature is allowing others to duplicate and remix the agent. Maybe the engineering team wants to tweak the software review agent for their own open source libraries. Let them remix it. But you must limit edit access of the master agent only to owners. And finally, as admins, always monitor its usage over time via the Compliance API to ensure it's functioning exactly as intended.
And that brings us to the end of our Masterclass Explainer. You now have the exact blueprint to turn a totally chaotic Slack channel into a streamlined, Jira-integrated, autonomous workflow. So I'm going to leave you with this. What manual IT workflow will you automate next? Seriously, take a look at your ticket queues tomorrow morning. Find the biggest bottleneck and go build your newest team member.